Hey guys, so from the perspective of Saturday, November 20th, 2021, I'm going to go over what got done the day before and what my goals were for this day here on Saturday the 20th. So yesterday on Friday, I had checked out of the apartment complex. We'd gotten everything from the coolers that we'd been storing it in, moved into the fridge, and I also worked out in the neighborhood close to us on my mountain bike. But Saturday was a pretty busy day because I kind of started back up on ministry stuff this day. So I started refactoring all of the slides that I've been using to go over presentations in the ministry videos I've been putting out, uh, taking them out of the HTML template that builds the slides and actually storing them as straight markdown files. And the reason for this is because eventually I will be using shortcodes in them. So kind of these custom template expansions that are used by the static site generator called Hugo that I build the ministry website with. Well, I want to be able to basically take the writing that I'm making into slides here and transfer it over directly into written content on the website so that people will be able to search through it and do things like that on web pages directly. So I kind of want to be able to duplicate the content across both the slides and the web pages. And so since the static site generator already handles things that way, what I'm going to try to do is make the slides behave like the website. So it's just JavaScript and CSS. I'm using a JavaScript library that builds slides out of Markdown. And so I'm able to change the JavaScript and the CSS. So it's just going to take me a bit of work. But in any case, I want to start getting the slide content in that format, the same format that it will show up on the website, so that I can start building the web pages for each ministry video here. And so copying these slides now, since they're basically written in the same format as the web pages are, will be really quick. Like you'll take out the horizontal rules that distinguish one slide from another and then merge any titles that are duplicated because you're talking about the same topic across several slides because not all the content fits on one slide. So you'll clean up a little bit of that. But other than that, it should basically just be a straight copy paste, which will be really nice. It will speed up production there on that front. And all of this is being done with the understanding that in the future, I'll write a set of scripts, probably in Python, maybe in C#, some easy to maintain language here that will take these markdown files and then inject them into the slides template that has the appropriate JavaScript and CSS. So I still kind of need to set some of this up a little bit. I'll also have to do the template expansions myself to emulate the behavior of the static site generator that I built the website with. So, I mean, it won't be that hard. Like I have some HTML that I just inject the markdown into after rendering the markdown, which I'm sure there'll be a library in whatever programming language I use to, basically paste in some markdown and have it get turned into HTML. That's a common thing. So I'm sure there's a plugin or a library that does that. So I'll have to set all of this up still, but I'm getting all of the slides now in the right format. So it's kind of slow and time consuming. Make sure I'm getting all the sections set up right. So just for an example, here's one of the sections that I was translating. And so these things here were quotes on the slides, but they didn't have much visual styling to differentiate them. They were just kind of indented. And so here I am setting them up with the short codes used by the website. So you can see right now this is being rendered on the local web server that I'm running on the website here. I've made a new content category called raw slides, which is basically the content that will end up on the slides without being injected into the slide templates so far. And so you can see that we have all these quotes here. I'm even going to be having the short codes that show up here on the website. Well, you can see, if I toggle the embedded, you can see the normal scripture text there versus the embedded Bible study app that lets you look at lexicons and so on. Well, this sort of thing will also be put in the slides now that I'm kind of trying to duplicate functionality across both. So it looks very nice. All of this I will be getting in the slide format once I figure out how to inject the JavaScript and the styling properly. But this is kind of the goal. This is what I've been working on here on this Saturday the 20th here. Now, the other stuff that I was doing was that now that moving is kind of done, for the last 6 months or so, since I put a commitment deposit and down on a house and was talking to the mortgage lender and stuff, I've been really tied up in all the practical matters relating to buying a house. So there's a lot that goes into it, picking out where it is, talking to the builder, talking to the bank and the mortgage lender and all of this stuff. And now everything is pretty squared away. We finished moving last weekend. We've been here a little bit, figured out where all the stuff is, like grocery stores and how my commute's going to be, and unpacked for the most part. I mean, there's still some more stuff to do, but there's a few outstanding issues. I got to get a washer and a dryer still, a couple things like that. But by and large, we're done. We're moved into the house. That particular bit of life stress is over. And so I kind of spent some time here going back and looking at what things I needed to do next, like what were my next top priorities. And this is kind of why I started on the ministry front again. That's very high on the list. Another thing is going to be arranging the living room kind of in such a way that it will be conducive to Bible studies, and then getting more involved in local churches to have Bible studies hosted at our house. That's something that my roommate and I are kind of excited about, something we'd like to do, playing the host there for Bible studies. And then also, since it was a Saturday, I spent time in here on the Bible study meeting on our Zoom call. Now, we didn't record this week because I was honestly kind of tired from moving stuff, and so we just decided to chat more casually. Talked about some interesting things, tracing the development of civilization and politics in Genesis, things like that. Just chatting more casually about other topics that weren't quite so formal. But that was a couple hours like it normally was. And so this here was the summary of the day here on Saturday, November 20th, 2021. And I'll pick up again in just a sec now talking about the 21st.